The last time the Indian team declared twice in a test match was more than a decade ago. That happened way back in 2007 versus Bangladesh in Chittagong, and that's happened again here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Here is the scorecard at the moment. 106 for 8 is when India declared their second innings, giving a target of 399 runs for Australia. Special mention there of Pat Cummins, 6 for 27. Those are the figures, almost matching what Jasprit Bumrah did for India in the first innings. Joining me, VVS Laxman. Brad Hodge also joins us from Australia. VVS, I'll start with you. I'm guessing Virat Kohli must have been listening to you. You said 400, 399 is what he's given them.
Now, I'm not sure, but I think anyone in that situation would do that, because especially keeping in mind the kind of batting lineup Australia have, in this series, you will be very comfortable with 400, and I think it also will give enough opportunity for the bowlers with the number of overs, keeping in mind that, tomorrow there's also forecast for rain, so I think 400 will be a very, very challenging and substantial target for Australia, and the way Australia started off, were very disappointing. Again, the way Aaron Finch got out is so disappointing. We've been time and again we've been talking that he's a one-day specialist, a white ball specialist, but when you're playing test match cricket, it's very important to adapt yourself to the format you're playing and the situation you're in. And the situation demanded that Australia put up a fight, and for that to happen, you require a solid start from the openers. It's okay getting out, but the manner you get out, I think that will be very, very disappointing and hurting for the Australian selectors and Australian fans, because now they've invested so much in Aaron Finch as a test match batsman.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate, as you say that this is not what you would want to see a test opener doing, but he's been put in there at the deep end, someone who's not open really in the long format. Could he have done things differently? It's just natural instincts sometimes that take over.
Yeah, natural instincts should take over, but natural instincts should be in correlation with the game plan you have, and I'm sure that Aaron Finch would have gone out to bat with a positive approach, looking to score runs, because that's the best way to approach in this situation. You can't afford to go into a shell and play something which is not natural to you. But then the shot selection has to be very, very precise, and on this wicket, especially someone like Bumrah and Ishant Sharma, where the ball is coming into Aaron Finch, you can't afford to play square of the wicket on the offside. You have to look to play in the V, probably back to mid-off or the bowler, and look to play high percentage shot, and if someone is bowling outswingers and is offering width, then you can definitely go and play the cut shot. I think it was a very, very high risk, a low percentage shot, and he'll be really disappointed, because yes, he's not open regularly for even Victoria, but he definitely must have got the signal, must have got the communication from the test series they were playing against Pakistan, that we are looking for you to be an opener for us, and this year, in the absence of David Warner and Smith, you're one of the players in the leadership group, so we want you to play with responsibility. And I didn't see that responsibility in Aaron Finch in the approach he showed in this test series, barring the Perth first innings.
Okay, not just Aaron Finch in general. Let's now talk about what must the Australian batsmen be thinking. What should be their approach? One is natural instinct, which is, you mentioned, will take over at one point. What do you do? The pitch is not playing really well. I mean, it's 2 days to go. There's a huge target. How do you approach this?
I think play on the merit of the ball, and also play the shots which will fetch you runs. But those shots are high percentage shots, and on this wicket, playing square of the wicket is very difficult. Wherever there is not bounce, there's no bounce, and also there is uneven bounce. Playing the cut shot will not give you or fetch you runs. It will actually lead to your dismissal. So look to play down the ground in the V, full face of the bat. Look to come forward. And against someone like Ravindra Jadeja, you have to have a plan. Either use the feet or use the depth of the crease and show trust in your defense. But you can't just go out and play your natural game and play low percentage shots and tell that this is the way I approach my batting. You can't do that, but showing that positive intent is very, very important.
Okay, that was Aaron Finch, as you said, bad shot. Jasprit Bumrah got him as well. But just talking about Jasprit Bumrah, I mean, the first ball he bowls of the day, it's almost close call. Second ball gets you a wicket. He doesn't even take time to warm up, which usually fast bowlers do.
Yeah, and I think it again boils down to the intent. And all these bowlers, not only just Jasprit Bumrah, all these bowlers now at least warm up before going and bowl the first delivery. You know, they bowl 4 or 5 deliveries, you know, on the wicket side to the main wicket, so that when they're bowling the first delivery, you know, it's not a loosener. And that's so important, because as a batsman, the worst thing for you is first ball itself, the bowler is bang on the money and puts you under pressure.
Yeah.
The best thing for a batsman is a bowler bowls a loosener, and the first ball you're hitting through the covers or for a boundary, you know, and then suddenly the confidence level will be high, you know. And what Jasprit Bumrah has done is, from the first ball he's bowling in areas which is the uncomfortable areas for the batsman. So he's not only bowling in areas which is consistent, but he's bowling in areas which I'm sure they must have done a game plan and strategy to each and every batsman, and this is his uncomfortable zones, and he's executing that game plan to perfection.
Okay, I believe Brad is also now with us. Brad, we were talking about Aaron Finch to begin with. I mean, makeshift opener is what the Australian team decided to go with, but do you think this has probably marked the end of that experiment?
Yeah, I think it's an experiment that was doomed from the start, actually. I think that if you put a middle order batsman in to open the batting against such high quality bowling, it's probably not going to have the result you want to. I mean, listen to VVS, he's spot on. It just looks like Aaron's not quite sure how he's meant to play, what he's meant to be doing at the top of the order. He's a middle order player, he's a stroke player. That's what he's good at, he's hitting the ball. But, playing late cuts against Jasprit Bumrah on a wicket which he should know well. This is an MCG wicket which he's played on for many years, and you know that third or fourth day you have to play straight. You have to trust your technique. You have to play defensive and just get the ball down the ground. And it was a poor dismissal. He'd be disappointed with that. And it just looks like he's in a position where he's just not quite sure how he's meant to go about this opening position.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a one-day shot in a test match that Aaron Finch offered. Okay, we're getting questions about the Australian opening, and we've got one question. I'll put that to Brad. Brad, this is from Foma. He wants to know, Usman Khwaja has scored, 453 runs at, 113.25 as an average as an opener. Will he be promoted in Sydney? Is that a good idea?
Well, it's not working at the moment, is it? So they have to try something. I think the selectors really have to acknowledge that they've got this wrong, and you're better off making a call now. But as VVS said, they've obviously invested some time in Aaron Finch with some seniority with, no Smith and Warner. But I think it's the wrong choice. I think there was a lot of talk prior to the Adelaide Test that he should have batted down the order, 5 or 6. But this experiment hasn't worked, and Usman Khawaja's getting exposed, so there's no reason why he can't go up. There's a lot of other issues in our batting order and lineup, but it's probably got to start with the top. You need 2 good openers, and we also saw with Bahari as well that it's never easy for a middle order player to go up the top, even though he's batted at 3, opened a couple of times in Ranji Trophy. But Test match cricket's a different level. The idea is to blunt that new ball and give the middle order scoring opportunities that they do. They're free-flowing players, and that's probably where Aaron Finch was always going to be more suited to play.
All right, we've got another question now from one of the viewers, and this one is for VVS Laxman. One man who's been on fire all throughout this test match, Ravindra Jadeja. Why has Jadeja been more threatening than Lyon on this pitch?
Well, I mentioned on the first day, I just felt that Nathan Lyon was tired, and you can understand, the amount of overs he bowled at Adelaide and in Perth. And Nathan Lyon is at his best, when he uses his body, and Karthik Murli, who's an excellent spinner himself, mentioned this during the Perth Test match. Why Nathan Lyon is so impactful and effective. So I just feel that he was tired, and that's why he was not able to use his body and land the ball in area which usually you see Nathan Lyon land consistently. And Jadeja is fresh, is raring to go. And if you see the pitch map of Jadeja, it will be so consistent where the ball is landing on the good length area. And also, I think Nathan Lyon doesn't have a rough in front of the right-hand batsman, whereas Jadeja also has a rough in front of the left-hand batsman. So that also can help Jadeja's style of bowling.
Okay, interesting thoughts, and I'd like Brad also to tell us. Brad, what do you make of it? Why is it that Lyon hasn't been as effective as Ravindra Jadeja?
Yeah, I think for those reasons, exactly what VVS just pointed out. He was on bowling in the 7th over of a test match, at MCG in the first day, which was tough. After bowling his heart out in the first 2 tests, So yeah, he just probably lacked a little bit of energy and bowling, and I think that with no foot marks outside the off stump, probably hasn't helped him. And he hasn't been able to generate the bounce which he got in the first two Test matches. So look, hopefully that'll change in Sydney. He's an outstanding bowler, and I also think that Jadu, as a left arm spinner, Australians have had their troubles with left arm spinners in the past. So it's not surprising he's actually looked so dangerous. He's bowling really, really well.
I think it's interesting how important a body, to use the body and the follow through for a spinner. It's so much neglected. You always talk about the wrist position, how good the release should be. Because at Adelaide, the wicket was slow, but Nathan Lyon was fresh and there was a rough in front of the right-hand batsman. At Perth, the wicket was quick, so he was getting the pace off the wicket. Whereas here, his body was tired and the wicket also was slow, where it was not offering him extra zip off the wicket. And it's so important for youngsters who are seeing this test match, the importance of finishing well, the follow through for even a spinner. We only talk about the fast bowler, but the follow through and using the body, the hip drive is as important for a spinner as it is for a fast bowler.
Okay, as you're saying, Lyon may not be at his best at the moment. One, he's tired, maybe the conditions not helping him. But that little, sort of a mini battle we saw, Mayank Agarwal taking on Nathan Lyon, smashing him as well. Are you left wondering what might have been had Mayank been there in the first two Test matches?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to tell. Because even KL Rahul and Murli Vijay are experienced players and excellent players against spin bowling. But having
they
said
never
that, we
got a
have to.
chance
Yeah,
to
but
play spin
that's
because,
true.
and
so are Virat Kohli and Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane are excellent players of spin bowling. But I really enjoyed the positive intent shown by Mayank Agarwal, especially from the mindset point of view. Because that when you're playing Nathan Lyon for the first time at international cricket, and this guy is the highest wicket taker in the series so far, and then the way he approached, the positive intent where he was using his feet to reach to the pitch of the ball, and also whenever the ball was pitched up against the turn, he was hitting through the cover region, and he was totally transferring his body weight. So I think I was really impressed with his mindset, and which was very, very positive and not overawed facing Nathan Lyon for the first time.
Interesting you mentioned that Murli Vijay also could have done well against Nathan Lyon, but I was just looking at the scorecard. He only got a chance to face Nathan Lyon in the second Test match, that to the final inning. He got out even before Nathan Lyon came on to bowl. Okay, we've got more questions coming in for our experts. This one is for Brad Hodge, which has come via YouTube for him. Let's take that question now. And this is Varun Gupta. Have Payne finally lost confidence in Stark, just giving him 3 overs? Brad?
Oh, look, I don't think he's lost confidence in him, no. I don't think those 3 overs were his best, but, that's the way he's been this summer, actually. I think that he's really bowled well in this Test match in the first innings. And I think it was just a good opportunity to get Paddy Cummins into the attack early, and he showed why. So I don't think it's a lack of confidence. We knew that India were only going to bat for a short period of time, so there's no need to burn him out either. They toiled hard in the first innings, so Paddy was doing a job. Josh Hazlewood was bowling pretty well, and Nathan Lyon as well. So I don't think it's that at all. We expect a lot from Mitchell Stark because anyone that bowls 150 kilometres an hour that can swing the ball, you expect that that's a recipe for success. But Test match cricket's pretty hard, and he's not quite shown his best in this series, but we know he's a class performer and it could come at any time.
It's interesting that sometimes we as fans start looking at these little things that are happening, but the captain probably is thinking of the series ahead, where Australia find themselves at the moment. He knows that Stark may be very important going ahead in the final
and it's
Test
so
match.
important, and especially there's no backup to these 3 quick bowlers. The other backup is Peter Siddle, who's not as impactful as Hazlewood, Stark and Pat Cummins. But also Brad made a very interesting point. The Australian team and the captain definitely would have thought that India would declare just nearing 400. So how to delay that declaration? Because the less number of overs Australian batsmen will face, the more chance of them saving. I mean, it's difficult and challenging to save the game, but that's what the captain will always think. So 2 things which I agree totally with Brad is the workload of Mitchell Stark and get your best bowlers in this match to bowl as many overs as possible before India declares.
Just to follow up on that, would you think that the Australians are even thinking of saving this match? Would going for a win rather be something that they would think about?
Well,
because saving looks impossible.
No, neither. Even going for a win looks impossible. But I think the mindset when you're in this situation is to not think about the result. You just think about the process, and the best way to approach this situation is play on the merit of the ball. You know, neither you can be over aggressive, neither can you be over defensive. Just play on and play high percentage shot and play onto the merit of the ball. Have a game plan to the conditions you're batting on, and that's the best mindset for any batsman in this kind of situation.
Okay, interesting you talk about how it's going to be very, very tough for Australia. Of course, they've got their backs against the wall. Let's take a look at how they've been doing in 2018 up until now. We're looking at just the fourth innings. How is it that they've performed now? What I can remember is that versus Pakistan just happened 2 months ago. 362 is what they got to save that match. What an exciting test match that was in Dubai. And then you had versus India in Adelaide, and that's just happened, what, 2 test matches ago, which is again a time that Australia batted for 119.5 overs. I know these are different conditions, Brad, but would give Australia some hope, considering, you know, they've done this in the recent past, batted close to, what, 120 overs. I know it's going to be, what, 180 overs still for them to play, or 170 overs, but there's rain predicted, so it could all boil down to that 110, 120 over mark.
And that's all they can hope for, really. They can only draw on those experiences, especially from the UAE, where, you know, a youngish side had the courage to, you know, bat out those 100-odd overs, or 150-odd overs, and 139, I think it was, against Pakistan. But this is a really different case, I think. We're talking about India, who've got their tails up. They're an outstanding bowling unit. They're well on top. But they need to draw on that. They're hopefully praying for some rain. It's not too many times you're an Australian cricketer praying for rain to save a game of a test match cricket, but that's where it's at, unfortunately. But, you know, that's the reality, and we've got to play to that. But, you know, we just got to trust our techniques. But that's what Dustin Lang will be saying to his group. Remember when we did this only a couple of months ago, so let's try and emulate that again, and hopefully we can get out of this situation.
If they do bat for that 110, 120 overs, it's not going to be saving a game. They'd actually be pushing for a win, because up until now the run rate's been rather good, almost running at 4 runs and over.
Yeah, again, just to reiterate what I mentioned before, I think you're not even looking at maintaining that run rate. You're just playing, merit of the ball, over after over. And break those big targets into small targets and try to achieve the small targets. But I think at international level you always draw inspiration from and confidence from what you have done best the previous time. You know, when you're in a similar situation, how did you approach that innings? You know, so it's very clear that they have to approach the innings just like the way they did in Adelaide and they did in Dubai. You know, it's not about how different the conditions are, but how consistent you are with your thought process and how you approach those 2 test matches. And it's not been something which has happened long time back. It is just very short time back, just 2 months back in Dubai and just 2 weeks back in Adelaide. So that's a mindset which the Australian batsmen should have. They have to draw from their experience and follow the same formula what they showed during those 2 innings.
Yep, draw from the experience, and that too experience that just happened, as VVS was mentioning, in the recent past, so something that they can look back at. We're getting plenty of questions now for those of you who are watching. This one is also from YouTube. Is this Shaun Marsh's last chance in Test cricket? Brad, would you like to answer that?
Well, it's getting close. I think there was someone talking at the back here about his recent statistics about last 10 test matches. I think he's averaging 16. So that doesn't give a lot of confidence to a lot of people, knowing that, it's just not good enough, unfortunately, at this level. So everyone talks about how good Shaun Marsh is and how good he looks when he gets to a certain number. Maybe that's 30. But he's actually not getting there at the moment. So this is causing a lot of frustration for people. We need a lot more out of his skill and knowledge. That's the one thing. We need some leadership. We need our good players to stand up, and those numbers just don't stack up. And how long can you keep pushing those numbers out there and expect good results? That's another issue.
Okay, plenty of comments coming. One comment here is a gentleman says that Australia, he thinks, can save the match. Only one way: if they had a VVS Laxman in their side, then probably they could have saved the match. But he's not playing there; he's sitting in a studio.
And neither I ever played for Australia.
If they had someone like VVS Laxman in their side. Okay, we'll take another question. Since we're talking about VVS Laxman, it is directed at VVS. What a game Agarwal is having! Runs and brilliant catches. Beginner's luck or a real find?
Well, I don't think beginner's luck, but real find. Especially short leg fielding is a tough position to be in. But what I really love is the basics of fielding which he's showing there. You know, the stance, the position, how low he is, and that's why while we feel that the ball stuck to him this morning. You know, when Marcus Harris played that shot. But the position is so good, he's so stable when he's standing at that short leg position. Yesterday, even the catch he took of Aaron Finch was brilliant. So you just see that confidence level in the youngster, and it comes with performing well at domestic level, and it almost feels that he richly deserves and rightly deserves to be part of this Indian team. So I really enjoy the confidence level and brilliant catching, because when you have got good quality bowlers, you have to take all the chances which come your way. And he's showing that he's not only good with the bat, but he's also done a lot of hard work in the fielding department as well.
That was something that I was going to ask you. Do you think it's a specialized position? Because usually the culture in the team is the youngest guy is asked to field there at short leg, and we thought that because he's the debutant, he's been told that. But it seems like this is a place where he likes to field.
Yeah, because he looks comfortable. Because it's a very tough position. It's not only about your balance there, but also what you think. Because if you're not a regular fielder in that position, then you're always thinking about saving yourself. You're always trying to evade the danger which fielding at short leg can give you. Because you always feel that the batsman is going to hit you. But what you see is the position he is in, the balance he is in the weight distribution, and that is the reason why he's able to move either way and take sharp chances, low chances. So I think he's someone who can be very effective and very productive at short leg. Yes, he's a youngster, he's playing his first test match, invariably he'll be there at that position, but I think he's got the technique to take a lot of catches at that position.
Yeah, the interesting point that you make is that he wasn't really scared. You know, usually fielders look away. He kept looking at the ball and got it very, very comfortably. Okay, plenty more questions, and my producer does want me to take a lot of them. Okay, we've got another question coming, and this one, let's see. This is from Facebook. Jessica, should India try Bhuvneshwar Kumar in 4th test instead of Ishant Sharma?
I don't
Very
think
harsh.
that. Yeah, no, I think Jessica is right in a way. Because Ishant hasn't been taking those kind of wickets. He's bowling well, but he's not taking those kind of wickets. And someone like Bhuvneshwar Kumar is there, who's not got a single match in this series so far. We all felt that he should have played ahead of Umesh Yadav at Perth. But I have a feeling that neither India or Australia will look to make too many changes. Even if Australia lose this match, I think they will go with the same playing 11 and not change, because they have to win that test match in Sydney to level the series if India goes on to win this Melbourne test. And from India's point of view, they will not look to change, because even if they win this test match, it's unfair to remove someone like Ishant Sharma and give Bhuvneshwar Kumar a chance in the last test match, because we don't know whether Bhuvi will find his rhythm, and Ishant Sharma has got his rhythm, but is not been effective as far as the wicket columns is concerned. So I don't think both the teams will make any changes leading up to the Sydney test.
Okay, Jessica, that change is not happening, not in this test series for the moment, according to VVS Laxman. We've got a question now on the Australian batting, and this I'll put forward to Brad Hodge. This is from Arun. What would be your advice to Australian batsmen in this situation? Go for the target or survival mode? Something that VVS answered also a short while ago. Brad?
Well, you just want to see, you want to see some courage, and you want to see some smart batting where you just want the Indian bowlers to earn your wicket and not throw it away. So, if they get beat, they want to get beat with a lot of respect, and I think that's what they did in Adelaide and also in the UAE, where they fought it out. I think this is a real opportunity for the Australian batsmen to get in there. The conditions look still good. They're still a little bit challenging with some up and down, but you've got to play straight and trust your technique. VVS has constantly said that on the 4th and 5th day of wicket, you have to trust and have a good defensive game. And this is a great opportunity for Australia to knuckle down, go for a draw. If they happen to play their own game and score freely and put the bad balls away, you never know tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But they need to knuckle down now and trust their techniques and show some bottle and show some courage against this attack.
Okay, taking from there, Brad, got a question from Bala here on YouTube. He's asking that approach that you were watching from Usman Khwaja being aggressive against Ravindra Jadeja. Do you think that's the right way for the rest of the Australian batsmen also to play against Jadeja?
Well, yes and no. I think it works for Usman Khawaja because, what he's essentially trying to do is at the moment with 400 on the board, Virat's got the luxury of having a bat pad, leg gully, silly point, and a slip. As a batsman, if you can remove a couple of those players, then you'll feel a little bit more comfortable. So in Usman's mind, he's trying to spread that field. Not all can play the way Usman plays. What you've got to do is trust yourself and trust your own ability against spin to be able to execute. If you're not a strong player, you're not a dominant player, then trust your technique to defend. So don't suggest that everyone should do that. I really like the way Sean Marsh is using his feet, hitting the ball to mid-on, trying to hustle the ones and twos like he did in the first innings. So that's a good recipe for him. Usman looks a little bit more aggressive, but as Mitch Marsh, Tim Payne, all these guys, Travis Head, when they come in, they've got to have their own method and trust their own game.
Okay, I'm just going back to the point that you made about Ishant because you're getting a lot of comments on that as well. Do you think Mohammad Shami in that sense has been a bit under-bowled because you're saying wicket column is not great for Ishant, yet they start with him, and even like we saw this particular session, I think he came even after Jadeja, 1 over.
Yeah, even in the first innings, I felt that Mohammad Shami was a little under-bowled. He got into attack little later than we all thought, especially someone who is in good rhythm, got 6 wickets in the second innings of Perth. So I think as a captain, you take a call, who is the best bowler to go for and give the responsibility of getting wickets. But I definitely feel that on this wicket, Shami is as effective as a Bumrah. Again, the way he hits the deck and how consistent he is with that line and length. But who knows? It can change post-lunch. We know Shami loves taking wickets in the second innings, and this will be his opportunity. But definitely, I think the workload should be distributed, amongst all the 3 bowlers, and all of them at the end of the day's play or at the end of the innings. All the 3 bowlers, fast bowlers, you want to see that the overs have been equally distributed.
Yeah, and especially as you say, he's done really well in the second innings. In fact, he's looking like, if I could say, the second best fast bowler for India after Jasprit Bumrah. Okay, one more question. This is on Facebook for VVS Laxman. We'll take that one as well. And this is Arvind Tiwari. If you have to choose one spinner, Jadeja or Ashwin, who would you select?
I will go for Jadeja now. Because I'm still unsure about the fitness of Ashwin, and Jadeja in the opportunity he got so far has been very impressive. So I wouldn't at all change the playing 11 in SCG, irrespective what wicket condition is. I wouldn't change the playing 11. This would be my playing 11 even at SCG because there's quite a good balance. The only challenge will be for Team India is to stick with Vihari as an opener. They've got no other option, they've got no other alternative, because if they go back to Murli Vijay, then I think it will be a big blunder. So I think this will be the playing 11 for me even at SCG.
Okay, 2 spinners because SCG sometimes offers 2 spinners.
No, not really, because again the way the 3 fast bowlers have bowled, it's not that they've leaked a lot of runs, or the Australian batsmen have been comfortable against them. So I feel even SCG, I will still stick to the same bowling combination.
Okay, one final word, because we did see Virat Kohli go off the field holding his back. Would you rather have him relax for this innings now? Let whatever Ajinkya or whoever's on the field captain, looking ahead to the Test series.
That's not a bad ploy, but that's something which the physio has to take a call, because as a captain you want to be out there in the middle,
and he's very excitable anyway.
Irrespective of the nature or the personality Virat Kohli is, I think as a captain you want to be out there, you want to make those bowling changes, have those field placements right for each and every Australian batsman, and you want to be in the thick of action. Until unless it's something which is deteriorating with each and every over is there on the field, then I think the physio has to take a call, keeping in mind then the turnaround from MCG to SCG is just 3 days. So I think that also will be very, very. I think it will be very important as far as the decision making is concerned, because we cannot afford to have Virat Kohli. Indian team cannot afford to have Virat Kohli miss out the Test match at SCG because of back spasm.
Yeah. Okay. Just to follow up on what you said about maybe India may not have any other option but to go for Vihari as the opener. Jeswat Mohandas wants to know, could Parthiv be that option?
I think chopping and changing will never be good for any player. And if you leave out now Vihari after just one Test match where you told that it's a stopgap option, and it's not that Vihari struggled. Yes, he didn't get into good position against the short pitch delivery, but he's played a lot of deliveries in the first innings and in the second innings. And what's the message you're passing on to a player who accepted the challenge and decided to open for his team. So I think the message has to be very consistent, and whether that's a right decision or a wrong decision, I think the message has to be consistent.
Right. Okay. We've now moving ahead to our final segment on the show, and this is called Fab 4, where we had asked both our experts to pick 4 players to watch out for on day 3 of the Melbourne Test match. Let's start with VVS Laxman. Let's see the players that he had picked for day 4, and he went with Jasprit Bumrah, Ravindra Jadeja, Mohammad Shami, and Pat Cummins. 3 out of the 4 bowlers have given him points, 20, 25 and 40, for a total of 85 points for VVS Laxman. I remember Brad Hodge was in the lead. Let's see how he's done on day 4 so far. Remember, it's just 1 session down in the match as far as day 4 is concerned, and he's got 58 points. He's I think conceded the lead. Harris is the only difference between them, and now unfortunately for Brad Hodge, Marcus Harris is out, so he's gone. 58 points is what Brad Hodge has got. Has it now changed the leaderboard? Has it helped VVS Laxman go past Brad Hodge? No is the answer. 624 for Brad Hodge, 597. Oh, that's very close. Just 27 points. That's not much for VVS Laxman.
That's not much, but if I have to win this, Pat Cummins has to get 28 runs. Otherwise, Brad Hodge will win this competition. Come on, Pat Cummins, he can do that with a bat. He has done it with the ball.
or the match goes into the 5th day, you select someone fresh players.
I don't see the match going to 5th day.
And then it all changes. But that doesn't seem like it. The only way it could go, probably if the rain also plays a part, and rain is expected. Okay, since Brad is there, Brad, I mean, you're a local from there, so play the weatherman for us. What are you expecting today?
Well, I did have a look on the weather radar just before, and there were some showers over the top of Ballarat and Gisborne, which is about an hour and a half sort of northwest of Melbourne. It was tracking this way, but if we thought they were going to reach, they've probably reached now. So you never know in Melbourne. It is 4 seasons in one day, so it could be sunshine in about 25 minutes and be 35 degrees. But there is some showers definitely scheduled for today and tomorrow, but it's holding off at the moment.
Okay, I mean, having been to Melbourne and heard all about it, let me tell you, it's not a myth. 4 seasons in a day do happen in Melbourne. You can start with rain, sunshine, then it gets cold, can get hot. All of it can happen in the same day. Let's see if the match goes on or not, or if the rain comes or not. As Brad was saying, it's not too far away from the MCG. VVS Laxman, Brad Hodge, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your company. We'll see you again during tea time.